Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Wise. Today we are going to look at a game based on the topic of attacking the uncastled king. So we have done some games based on king in the center. Today we are going to take the topic further and we are going to see a very interesting game. See, I am trying to increase the level of difficulty when it is coming to all the topics. Gradually we are trying to increase the level of difficulty. So this is a very interesting game where we have to evaluate the position several times. We'll try to find moves. We'll try to look for tactics, whether tactics should happen now, what we have been doing in our positions and all. Let's get started with the game. Little bit I will tell about the opening also. E4, E6, D4, D5. We have the French defense again. White played the move NC3. So with the move NC3, white is not only supporting his E4 pawn, he is developing the knight to C3, attacking D5. So black went for the most active move, bishop B4. This is called the whenever variation. Black develops the bishop, pins the knight, indirectly attacks the center. Whenever knight is pinned, the center gets attacked. Only drawback of this bishop B4 move is the G7 pawn gets undefended and QG4 ideas are very often exploited by white. Here at every move there is the move QG4 which is possible. After, let's say, right now QG4, okay. Right now there are some gambits possible, knight E2, BD2, A3, main move is E5 over here. Today's game is about such a gambit where white is going to sacrifice the pawn on E4. Very often, see, these ideas were very much used in the late 20th century. We saw that many players were trying to give up this E4 pawn and play QG4, creating double attack on E4 and G7. So the theory was such in that era or those times that E4 used to be given up and people used to defend G7 because we know G7 cannot be given up easily, it's near the king. Okay, but things changed drastically later on. The importance of E4 pawn was understood. Today we are going to look at such a game where white played the move BD2 and he is sacrificing the pawn on E4. Of course, taking bishop C3, DE4, then QG4, that would be making the bishop slightly better here. There is no need to trade this bishop. Instead, black goes for the move DE4. Because after knight E4, QD4 attacks the knight and the bishop is also protected. So white's main idea is of course not to take any E4 here. White wants to play the move QG4. So these ideas were used very often and now this is a very old game. So what is happening? What happened after 1950s or we say late in the 20th century, the defense became very strong because the defender came to know if I am up in material, I have various ways to return the material at the right moment. Okay, but what happens when we see today's chess even at 12, 13, 14, 15 or even say 17, 1800 level, players are not ready to return material, they are ready to keep the pieces passive. Okay, and lot of computer programs also we see they like to keep material. Okay, but modern computers are very strong. They are not just based on material, they play really active chess, they understand the activity of pieces and basically they are able to calculate very deep. So here what happened, modern theory says black should play knight f6, give up the g7 pawn, after qg7, rook g8, qh6, many a times rook g6 is played directly or black can just play nd7, b6, b7, queen moves to e7 and black castles long. So this becomes a very good position for black. Okay, but since this is an old game, black was not aware that he should give up the g7 and preserve his e4 pawn. e4 pawn will make white's development bd3 and nf3 very difficult. And a very risky move, qd4. He took one more pawn and he is trying to support g7 with his queen. Okay. So such an excursion with the queen can cause some trouble if white gets ahead in development. Right now what is happening? Black must have thought, I have two pieces, White has 3 pieces, development advantage is not that great, and 2 pawns. 2 pawns mean a lot. He can return at any moment. But of course, if the attitude is there to return at right moment, then there can be some play. There was some chances in the game, I will show you that. White went with his idea, long castle, immediately bringing some serious pressure and serious threats. First threat, bishop g5, rook attacks the queen, queen moves away, then rook d8 checkmate. So bishop from g5 guards d8, rook is also eyeing the d8 square. Now things have started suddenly become little bit tricky. Bishop c3 loses on the spot, queen moves, g7 will be taken, queen will take h8 as well. Now black has some serious problems. The move knight f6 can allow just qg7, okay? qg7, rook g8, qh6, still perhaps knight f6 is playable. Black went on with another risky move, f5. He wants to hold the e4 pawn. The trouble is not in the move, just the f5 move itself. It is violating some principles and black wants to hold the e4 pawn. Basically black lost the game because he wanted to hold the e4 pawn. He is not ready to return it. He sees white developing fast and does nothing much about it. Now what has happened here? If the queen moves, then the pressure on g7 would be gone. Okay, and white will lose a tempo. And what white thought here, I have 4 developments, black has 2, he has played so many pawn moves, his king is in the center, my king is far safer, I should look for a combination here. And that brings the move bg5. The first tactical move in the game, and now from here on every move becomes tactical. Now first I think the best chance was perhaps here, do fg, except that the position has gone wrong after rook d4, but position is already bad because now if bishop c3, then rook check, king f7, rook into c8, and this bishop will escape, but after bishop c4, knight e2, rook h d1, we can make out that the black pieces are all stuck, both knights are pinned, and it will be difficult to develop. So I think bishop c3 is definitely a mistake. Black has to try the move knight c6 here, but then again bb5. See, white is not going to allow the initiative to drag. Now again after the move bishop c3, if we play rook d8 check immediately, which is also playable, king f7, then we have to take bishop c6, rook is attacked, so b into c6, and here after the move bc, both pawn structures are ruined. Black is having extra pawn over here. Let's see how many 2 extra pawns. Set of doubled pawns, here doubled pawns, here doubled pawns, 2 extra pawns. But what to do now? If bb7 to remove the pin, then rook d7 check and we take c7. Okay. White is about to play knight e2, knight will head to f4 and the other rook will come to d1. So I think it's ample of compensation for the pawn, but perhaps black should have done something like this. Things are now slowly going out of his control. After bg5, I think it was necessary to take the queen away if he doesn't want to play fg4. Queen should have perhaps gone to b6. Now rook d8 check, king f7 is not causing much trouble because g7 gets defended. So just moving the queen to g3 creates a dangerous threat of be3, bishop attacks the queen and queen takes g7. So for example, knight f6 would lose now to bishop e3, queen a5, then qg7, attacking f6 and h8 both. So that position will become very critical for black. This position is now looking really difficult. Black played the move queen e5. It looks like things are okay here. I must show you one more move here, queen into f2. Okay, this is another risky move, but I think maybe this can also give some chances. Again same problem, after rook d8 kf7, taking on c8 can allow queen e1 check or queen f1 check rather. Okay, so white should play the move ne4 here, very strong. See, white is looking for all kind of tactics. The problem is after the move fe4. Now there are lot of tactical ideas. White completes all his development after the move fe4. First, bishop comes to b5 with a check. Now the bishop on f1 will not be hanging. After the move knight c6, he can just take bishop c6, bc, queen into e4, and we see that c6, b4 both are hanging. Very difficult to defend the game, and also there is threat of rook d8 check when the king will be exposed on the f7 square. So this position already looks very difficult. Okay, perhaps already losing piece is there. Maybe we can try to move qc5 and all, but I think the position should be losing somewhere around here. After the move queen f4 check, knight has to move and rook takes the rook. So this position is looking almost losing. Knight is ready to join after nf3. After the move kg6, knight f3, okay, knight e5 and knight h4 check. They should win the game for white. Black's pieces are all stuck. So after ne4, perhaps force this fg4, when we can take knight into f2, and now there are two threats. One, g4 is hanging and rook d8 check taking c8. Not playing rook d8 makes sense in many cases, because after nc6, d8 is hanging, c8 gets protected, and then there is no time to take on g4. Okay, black went queen e5, totally unaware of the fact that now he is really behind in development. As I have told you before, development of 3 extra usually leads to serious tactical problems. Right now we see 2 plus 2, 4 developments. Black has 2 extra, but the move is white's. Black king is in the center and white finds a very strong move. He is not interested in moving the queen. The move is knight f3. See, from bg5 onwards, every move has become a threat. Okay, now what has happened? Queen has to be moved, because if we take fg4, then there is a small combination: rook d8 check, king f7, knight e5 checkmate. King has no place to move. After e into f3, again instead of playing rook d8 check immediately, we should first take on b4, keeping the threat of rook d8 alive. And after the move nc6, white again has the very strong move. The knight gets pinned, rook threatens to go to d8, rook h e1 coming up, and we can make out that the position is about to collapse. Okay, let's go to the main game and see what happens. So knight f3 is perhaps the starting of a winning combination. Black went queen a5, takes the queen away, threatens to take on c3 followed by a2. White is absolutely unfazed. He knows that the position has become winning now. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 developments versus 2. King caught up in the center and the move is his. So obviously 2 pawns are not worth these many problems. Okay. So white got a very simple tactic here actually. All pieces join the attack and hover around the centralized king. d8 check, kf7, white wants to use the idea knight e5 mate, queen is the defender, and here comes the move bishop b5. Interference to the queen, threatens new bishop e8 check, and knight e5 is another threat. Let's look at fascinating variations here. We'll go from easy to difficult. After fg, knight e5 mates on the spot. Similarly, if qb5 stopping bishop b5 and knight e5 both, then knight b5, fg4 forced, otherwise queen down, but then still knight e5 mates. Any move like knight c6 or knight d7 trying to control e5, knight e5 check still, knight takes e5 deflecting the knight, bishop e8 check forcing the king on f8, and bishop h5. Both bishops control the diagonal. King is badly caught and it's checkmate. Black tried the only try. He played the move nf6. Knight attacks the queen. Pawn was already attacking the queen, and he covers the diagonal basically. Now the move ne5 will allow the king to go to e7. So that is the point. So white uses the idea knight e5 properly. He doesn't miss out on the opportunity. So this we can easily treat as a position. Let's look at the candidates. There is knight e5, there is bishop f6, there is queen h5 check, deflection to the knight, queen h5, knight h5, knight e5 mates. Very easy to spot if we see 3 plays ahead. Okay, white went queen h5 check, the most forced one, because if king goes to e7, then we can just do bishop f6 followed by rook h8 or direct rook h8. Both win on the spot. There is another mating combination based on the move rook e8. See, rook e8, knight is pinned, so rook e8, queen e8, kd6. It looks like knight d5 will come, but see, after rook d1 check, only move knight d5, kc5 lost b3 mate. So rook d1 check, knight d5, there is b7 or qe7, both are checkmate. Look at the situation, how the black king is caught up. By studying these games, we are developing a feel that at what point something will happen and when we should look at something, how we are able to create that something in our own games. So black played the only move g6, after which knight e5 check. Now white is using the knight and queen in tandem, and he is seeing that there is a forced mate here. Basically it was mating 5 from here. After king g7, it's easy to make out qh6 and bh6 both were mate. King had to go to e7 and forced series of moves follow now. White wants rook e8 check, but rook e8 allows rook into e8, so comes the move qh7 check, deflection to the rook. If king takes d8, then bishop takes f6, be7, be7, be7 or queen h8. All are checkmates. Black took rook h7. See, first move was done. Rook e8 check, second move, forcing kd6, knight c4 check, third move, forcing kc5 and bishop e3 checkmates. So mating 4 from qh7, from knight e5, it was a forced mating 5, we can say. So this is what happens if development is neglected, grabbing too many pawns in the opening and keeping the own king in the center. That was my idea of showing you this game so that we develop feel for the positions. I hope you are enjoying these lessons. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.